My name is Ina Armstrong, and I'm one of the educational board members. I represent Clever Books, and I was asked by EdTech for Future to moderate this discussion. And shortly I would introduce the other board members who will be evaluating your tasks that you have been assigned and will be assigned for the next 4 weeks. I'll do a brief introduction about how the challenge is going to work, and also we'll have a couple of questions for our board members to have a quick discussion on the application of augmented reality, specifically in the classroom. So I would like to quickly go around and introduce the speakers first. So we have Yoon Jin from Liechtenstein. We have Amanda Smith from the US. We have Christine Dunhoff, also from the United States. We have Nancy Penchev, also from the States. And we have Rob Furman, also from the States. So I will give quickly just a couple of minutes to each one of you. Please introduce yourself and please say where you're from and what you do, and we'll just have a quick round. So Eugene, if you don't mind to start, please.
Sure. My name is Youngjin Oh. I'm a Korean American. I grew up in the US, and I've been teaching for 17 years now, first in Boston. Then I started my international school career, going to 2 different schools in Switzerland, and now I am a elementary school principal as well as the director of technology of a small school in Liechtenstein, but I live in Austria. So it's a little multicultural world, and during this very difficult COVID-19 time, I have been stuck in Austria, unable to go to my school in Liechtenstein. But things are easing up in this part of Europe right now. So I look forward to getting back to school and seeing my students again. But at the time now, we are very interesting time preparing for all the health and safety issues of returning and reopening school. I'm very excited to be part of this panel, and I look forward to seeing your plans and proposals all about AR.
Thank you. Amanda, would you like to go next, please?
Hi, I'm Amanda Smith. I'm in Lufkin, Texas. I work with teachers and I teach them how to use their technology. We use augmented reality often, and I started off in special education, and the assistive technology taught me my love for technology, and so I've moved into this new role, and I'm looking forward to viewing all of your tasks. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you, Amanda. Rob, would you like to take the stage next?
Sure. My name's Rob Furman. I'm an elementary principal in South Park School District, just outside of Pittsburgh. Has no affiliation with the stupid cartoon or anything like that. And I've been involved with Clever Books for a while now. I do a lot of presenting. I have a few books out there in education, and I'm looking forward to the experience. So thanks for having me.
Thanks. Great. Christine, would you mind going next, please?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Christine Danhoff. I'm the Tech Integration Specialist at Genoa Area Local Schools, which is in Genoa, Ohio. I've been in the classroom as a teacher, but absolutely love the position of being a Tech Integration Specialist because it's always fun to work with the teachers and students and find really great innovative ways to incorporate technology into it, especially AR and VR and all those fun things that are out there that kids really seem to enjoy. Looking forward to seeing all of the things that you're going to be creating for this task, and thanks for giving me the opportunity to be on the panel.
Thank you, Christine. And Nancy, you next, please. We can't hear you, Nancy.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Oh, okay. I got this little button and I keep pushing it by accident, and so I mute myself all the time. My kids are like, no, where are you? So my name is Nancy Penchev. I teach at Sheck Khalil Community School in North Miami Beach, Florida. I am the instructional technology coordinator for the lower school, and I also teach K-5 in a class we call Social Studies Lab. we do project-based learning based on what they're doing in their social studies class with a STEM focus. And we use augmented reality within there. We're just tipping out, getting our feet wet, trying it in a few different classes right now, and exploring it to see what we can do. So I'm very excited to see what you guys are doing as well.
Fantastic, thank you. So before we go to some questions to the board members, to the panelists, I'm just going to take a couple of minutes to give all the attendees and just a brief overview of how the challenge is going to work. And basically the main goal of this challenge is to empower educators to use the augmented reality and also equip you with tools and resources that you will need to strategically use specifically augmented reality technology in your classroom, and hopefully that the students will benefit tremendously from the application of such technology, innovative technology, and hopefully it will also help the academic achievement. So that's kind of the main goal. And the challenge will be divided into 4 main tasks. And the whole concept is to talk about first the skills that the kids will need to have to fit the future workforce. And that's what your first challenge is all about, just to get yourself familiar about what augmented reality is if you're just starting, or familiarize yourself a little bit more about what augmented reality can do. And also link that knowledge to the skills that the children would need to have for the unknown future. And today in our discussion we'll specifically concentrate on 3 skills, and it will be critical thinking, creativity, and problem solving, and see how augmented reality can help the kids to enhance those skills. And basically that would be the first challenge, focused on getting yourself familiar with augmented reality. The second challenge will be focused on more consuming all the augmented reality resources that are out there to help your kids also interact through the visual technology. The third task will be more focused on creating the augmented reality, and you will have the opportunity to use different applications that are out there and have your students to create some hopefully interesting and fun things. And the fourth, probably most exciting task will be collaborating with the use of augmented reality. It's something new, and we're very looking forward to giving you the opportunity to experience that as well. So that's the whole concept. You'll be given a week for each task to complete. As you know, you're working in groups. I know that some groups, due to the current circumstances, had some people quitting at the moment, or not being able to fully participate. So it's okay if your groups are small, and we're actually thinking of giving the opportunities even for individual submissions. So the judging criteria originally was done for the group submissions, but now we'll definitely reconsider that, and our main goal is to give everyone the opportunity to participate. Doesn't matter if you're doing it on your own or if you're doing working in the group. But of course, the main goal of the challenge was to initiate this global collaboration between educators. So if you don't have a team, for some reason your team members are not responsive, please let Anna know from EdTech for Future, and she will be able to assign you to a different team. If your team is lacking some members, please also let her know, and I'm sure that if there are any people who are missing the team, she would be able to allocate them to you. So, at the end of our discussion, we'll also give a few minutes to a question and answer sessions. So if you do have any questions, it would be great if you can write them in the chat here and get them ready for the end. And you can also maybe at the end turn your microphone, ask questions in person as well. So that's all in terms of the organizational things, and the board of educators right here, they will be doing the final evaluation on every task, and the criteria for evaluation is also been clearly stated in the document that was sent to you with the first task. So if you have any questions on that, please ask at the end of this panel discussion. But now I would really like to go move forward and talk about the application of actually this fantastic technology, the augmented reality technology in the classroom. And the first question that I would like to ask and maybe talk about is that we all know that for the future is unknown, and it's all about the skills that the kids would need to have in order to fit the future workforce. So, and looking at the World Economic Forum articles and what they're talking about, they state that there are three main skills that the kids would need to have that could definitely help them in the future digital world. Is the critical thinking, is the creativity, and problem solving. And my question to the board today is, what is your opinion, how augmented reality technology can help kids, students develop those skills and also enhance those skills? So I would like to start backwards, and Nancy, if you would like to start first, please.
So augmented reality is something that in the workforce is being used a lot right now with training purposes. Because a lot of people do not have the experiences to do the jobs that they have. So they put them into an augmented reality situation in order to train them. There's doctors that use it, nurses that use it, pilots use it. If you've seen those little race car simulators, it's kind of the same kind of thing, where they're putting them in the situation where they might be in their jobs. So augmented reality for jobs is something that's really big. So kids getting experience with going into an augmented reality situation just gives them a leg up for the future when they are looking at training for other jobs.
Okay, great, thank you. And Christine, would you like to give your point of view?
Sure. I absolutely agree with Nancy, you know, with coming out of 5G and all these other things that are out there. Augmented reality is such a great tool because, especially as remote learning and being at home, you can do many of these trainings or these activities at home from there. When it goes to regard to education in the classroom setting, it is a huge way to open up experiences for kids that may not have those physical materials. So I'm thinking of even doing a frog dissection. You can do it in augmented reality. You don't have to have those frogs there. You know, they can kind of play around with it, see the different parts. So you're opening up so many different opportunities that they may not ever get to explore, letting them talk about them and do some really neat projects. And I feel like the creativity aspect of it is like the whole next step. It's empowering the students. They get so excited that they're like, I just created this, you know, and it is so up and coming and innovative, and I think that we have to continue to offer our students those opportunities in the future.
Great, thank you, Christine. And Amanda, would you like to share your thoughts?
Yes, I agree with everything Nancy and Christine said. With augmented reality, there are so many possibilities, and some experiences I've had so far. One of my best friends works at a local college in the business of education, and we've used augmented reality to create a virtual job fair to prepare students for when they actually need to go interview. And there's just so many different possibilities to have students interact in ways that they would not have in any other circumstance. Living in Texas, our state is very large, and so our students may not get to the beach, or they may not get out to West Texas. They may not see many things. And using augmented reality or virtual reality, we can bring different parts of the world to them, even if they're stuck at home quarantined. So there are so many applications, and we're excited to see what all the participants can come up with.
Great, thank you. Yunjin, would you like to go next, please?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, what Amanda, Nancy, and Christine already said is spot on. With the training for the future, I'm in elementary school education, but I have been to work fairs and other technology conferences, and they do use AR to train professionals with doctors, like Nancy said, or even technicians who are working in plumbing and so on. It's amazing what AR can provide for the working force. But in the elementary school side, it's important to start making our students aware of what this technology is, because by the time they do, as it become an adult and work in the professional world, they have to understand these skills, which is the problem solving, creativity, and critical thinking. With my experience in elementary school world, it is amazing how AR can really open the eyes. There's also a wow factor, of course, but with that wow factor, it does fade. But the important thing is that it reaches different students, the kids who maybe struggled with certain aspects of memorizing certain things or learning certain things or reading certain things. When you use AR, it really opens up a whole new world for different students. So it can reach the really bright students, the really fast ones, the ones who really are a little slower and need support. So I find AR especially can really reach a wide spectrum of students. And that's something that is important when you think about your task, to reach all levels of students through AR.
I really like that approach. Great, thank you. And Rob, would you be able to share your opinion as well? Yeah, I think Rob has a little bit of challenge with the connection, so we can come back to him later. And great, yes, I totally agree with everything that you said, and it looks like this technology definitely would be a great asset to students, and not just now, not just with a wow factor, and it looks like the augmented reality is becoming mainstream now, and one of the technologies that have a huge potential for the future, and to equip the kids with skills that they will need to strategically use the technology, and also later on to move to higher grades, to universities, and then to the workforce. So, but now I would like to challenge all our board members and ask you, your educator's voice, on your reason why you really think that augmented reality can be brought to the classroom and can have an impact. But your challenge is to give your short pitch in 20 to 30 seconds. How does that sound? So Amanda, I'm going to go with you first.
Okay. All right, let me know when you hit the timer.
Go ahead.
Okay. So I believe it can be brought to the classroom because of all the various devices that it is now compatible with. I work in a rural area, and we've struggled with having enough devices for students, and now it's compatible with everything. You can use it on a computer, a phone, a tablet. The possibilities are endless. Students can bring their own phones and use it. And so like we've mentioned previously, that a lot of businesses are also going with augmented reality. You can now take a picture of your living room and pick what kind of furniture you want in it. You can take a picture of yourself and change your hair color before you dye it. And so with it becoming that mainstream in our social life, it's just easier and easier to make it academic for our purposes. Okay.
Great, fantastic. Then Christine, would you like to go next?
Sure, I'll go next. The why I think augmented reality is such a huge thing and can be a huge thing in education is, I kind of mentioned it before, that there's so many possibilities of experiences that kids may never get to explore. There is that wow factor, which I think definitely is exciting for them, gets them excited about the content. And then we do continue on past that, and that's cool that you can actually create your own augmented reality experiences. And as Amanda said, there's a lot of different devices now that are being compatible with this because we're going to continue to see this soar. So it's a great tool.
Great, thank you. Nancy, you want to go next?
Okay, so why is because it is there. A lot of the things in technology kids use for fun, but then when you show them how it can be used for education, it becomes a whole nother ballgame. Something as simple as like pic collage, which you just use on your phone or your iPad to put pictures together. Something kids do, they do it just for fun every day. And then I can show them how they can use it for learning and show their learning. And then it becomes an even more greater tool. So because they do experience it, they do see it like in the mall when they're walking by and they see the games and things, that's something that's there in their world a lot of times. So being able to use it for learning just adds that extra dimension. And then like Christine said, the creation part, that's the big thing, because everything is okay when you play with it once or twice, but when you can start creating it, that's when you really take it in and it becomes deeper for you.
Great, fantastic. Yunjin, then you're going to go next.
Sure. Yeah, I do have to echo everyone with the creating, producing. That's the most important thing, to be proactive. You're not passively absorbing a YouTube video. With AR and with technology, you are producing, you're productive. And I really find that fantastic with AR. I did touch upon differentiation, which AR can provide, reaching kids at many different levels. But what I find especially great with AR is the end products, the assessment, because you don't just have to give a test, a written test, they write it down and then you get a grade. With technology along with AR, you can have an assessment with an AR product, an end result, that they have to create something using AR and show their knowledge. And at the end, using a rubric, for example, you can give the students a grade. You no longer have to have this very stagnant written examination. You can use AR and grade them on the product at the end. And I find that so valuable because that reaches so many different students, and the end result is not just a written examination. So I find that is a real big why to use AR in the classroom.
Fantastic. Let's try to reach Rob. Rob, are you with us? Would you be able to give your opinion? Yeah, it looks like the connection is not working, unfortunately. Okay, then fantastic. It sounds like you all have your why, and that's probably one of the reasons why you're already using the technology, and you're here today with us to talk about it as well. So I actually also was thinking about how you all started, and but it's also more about what was your really most memorable moment of using this technology with your students in the classroom. So Nancy, would you like to start first this time? You just need to unmute yourself.
I keep forgetting that part. So like I said, we've been recently stepping into it as a school. I've played around with it. I have the VR viewers. I bought it, gosh, the first one I bought was like probably 5 years ago, just the Google Cardboard. And my vice principal at the time held it up and started walking around looking at the solar system, and she walked out in front of a bus, and I'm like, no, come back. Don't move when you're doing this. And we've recently gotten a grant and purchased a lot of stuff as well. And we're working with Jamie Donnelly, who is just a master at a lot of this. So we're just as a school on the precipice of stepping out. We have Merge Cubes. We're starting a program with 5th grade in Merge Cubes, and we have the maps, and we have the globes, and we have different things that that teachers are just putting in as a taste. They haven't become completely comfortable yet, and so that's another thing, is getting the teacher comfort with it. So we're just taste testing it. Pop it in here, pop it in there, until they can start moving along. And probably my favorite thing was watching kids do the augmented reality roller coaster, because it made me nauseous. I had to stop. I was about to throw up. It was so horrible for me. I couldn't do it, but they loved it, and they're moving around and doing all the things. So watching them and seeing how they react to it and knowing what it's going to do for them is just pretty amazing.
Wow, nearly walking to the bus, that was probably the best part. So
yeah, I was like, no. And she wasn't listening because she's so focused on this. I had to grab her and pull her back. So it was quite the experience, I have to say.
Right. Safety first. That's the most
We made a
important
rule
thing.
after that is that you have to sit down when you're doing it. You can't walk around. If you want to move this way and this way, okay, but you cannot walk when you're doing it.
Great, that's a good point. Thanks, Nancy. Okay, Eugene, would you like to go next?
Sure. I think my first experience with AR is actually through VR. And the use of the goggles when they first came out were my first experience, like, oh my gosh, this is incredible. But those goggles were like $5,000 and it was really expensive when it first started. And then as it evolved, yes, it's become cheaper. But I found the AR stuff using a tablet, for example, created a different world, much more accessible for my students rather than putting these goggles on. I think that's great too. But we focus just on using AR, the tablets. And one basic thing that we started with was the geometry app with Clever Books. I thought was really, really well done because for the three-dimensional geometric figures, to look at that and to unfold it and to lay it flat, I thought was really impressive. So that was really the first start where kids, at least my students, realized, wow, this is really helpful because their minds doesn't work like that. They see a 3D structure, but to unfold it on a flat surface. So that little experience was really impactful for me to say, holy moly, something just so small and basic really helped my students learn these geometric figures. So that was really my first start and my really first positive feedback. Something so easy and so basic, but it really helped all these students understand the geometric figures.
Great, thank you. Sounds very exciting. And Amanda, you next.
All right, I actually got started with Quiver, Q-U-I-V-E-R. It's a coloring page, and so we were working with, I think, first or second grade, and you print off the coloring page, they color however they want, and then when you use the app, what they've colored comes to life with the way they've colored it. And so it even has a recording feature, and so we were having them write stories based on their coloring page. And so back then it wasn't called augmented reality. I'm not actually really sure how Quiver labels it, but then as the technology developed, that's what it was. And so we've moved on to Clever Books using their geography was our next one, and merge cubes. Love merge cubes. They have a museum feature. That was probably our favorite, is when the statues came to life and the kids were, you know, dabbing next to the statues. So I just love augmented reality. The wow factor, like Eugene had mentioned earlier, that's big for us. We are the largest school district in our area, and so I have lots of kids to work with, and it's always the first time, over and over, and it's just great. I love augmented reality.
Great. There's so much more coming, I guess, and to choose from. And I know that we had a couple of questions here about what to start with, what resources to use. And there are lots of applications now that you can download and use free of charge. And our panel members have mentioned some of them. So you can try that and you can see how that goes. And obviously afterwards, if you see the benefit of application of augmented reality, you can move further to next products and other resources. But Christine, I'll give you the word.
All right, the wow factor, first time we used augmented reality, I think was I got one of those merge cubes when they were $1 at Walmart years ago. But same as Amanda, also with the Quiver pages, we started with that, and the kids were just, it was amazing to them, you know, when they colored the dot, we did the dot with them, and kindergartners are holding the tablet off of there, and they're trying to reach and touch the ball, the dot that's there. And, you know, same with the merge cube. We started with the solar system, and then we got into the Clever Books, you know, doing the 3D shapes with first graders. So I think it's really important to know that augmented reality can be used from, you know, pre-K all the way up to 12th grade. There's like a huge amount of different apps and ways that you can implement it in the classroom. And I think the kids get excited no matter what age they are. I think adults get just as excited when they see something like that. So it's such a great tool, and I'm really excited to see how it evolves.
Fantastic. Thank you, Christine. And we'll give it another try to reach Rob. Rob, are you with us? Okay, I guess it's not working, but fantastic. It sounds great. It's amazing to hear all your experiences, and I'm sure that our participants also have interesting stories to share of how they started, what went wrong maybe, what the students loved the most, and obviously it's one of the learning points for them as well as educators, and for you as well, to see how you can adjust your lessons, how to lay the planning, etc., and to fit in this innovative technology in the whole concept of the curriculum of learning, and getting the kids excited about something new. And I would like to just ask the last question for today, and then we'll move to question and answer session. And I know that today you already mentioned, some of you mentioned that augmented reality has been nice to have. It's something unique, new, and all of you said that you just tasting here and there everything that is available there. And I know that many people use a lot of different tools, many people are just starting, but what's your opinion in terms of the actual impact of application of this technology in the long run on kids' academic performance? So Yunjin, would you like to start first?
Sure. I think the overall impact that I see is the real joy of learning, because things can be very tedious and boring. But with AR, that's for me the most important thing. Yes, my kids learned about geometric figures using this great AR app. That's great. But what's even better is that kids are really motivated to go to school. They share stories when they get home about how they learned this three-dimensional thing, what they saw right on their own desk. It wasn't there. They go home and spread the word, and the parents come back with feedback to me and say, hey, that was what I heard is great. And the parents are very happy too. So I think overall, it's not a specific, okay, biology, chemistry, math, or English. It's just the kids are really happy to go to school and really happy to learn. And at the end result, the parents are happy as well. So for me, I think that's the biggest win with using AR at schools.
Okay, thank you. And Christine?
I think the implications and impact of the students as well as, it's very exciting for them. They get motivated, just like Yungjin was saying. I think it's so important that we, give these kids the opportunity to use these tools and explore with them, because I think, we're going to continue to see this grow in the workforce. So we need to give them those tools and resources to be prepared for the future, for their society, their job, their workforce, and such.
Great, fantastic. And Amanda?
For us, it's giving the kids something tangible that they can connect their learning to. Like I said, we live about 3 hours from the ocean, so you would think kids could just drive and go see it, but we've got several that have never stepped foot out of our town. And we noticed in history our scores were kind of just leveling off, and that's because they weren't being able to connect what they were reading in their textbooks to what they were reading about. And so we have visited the Lincoln Memorial, the Statue of Liberty, and in being able to go to those places through Google Expeditions and seeing what's out there, they were able to connect their learning. Oh, okay, like in the Spider-Man movie, the Washington Monument is there. Until we went and visited it, they didn't know that was an actual monument, didn't know that was what they were studying. And so it was in their Spider-Man movie, and when we looked at it, they're all like, oh, that was in the Spider-Man movie. That's how they connected their learning. And so it's making such an impact on these kids being able to kinesthetically move around, because that's what I love about augmented reality is it's in their real world. So they're not cut off like in a video game. It's actually impacting what they're seeing and how they're seeing it.
Thank you, Amanda. And Nancy, please.
I don't think there's anything left to say. Everybody has pretty much said what I was thinking as well. It's just being able to bring kids to the spot, being able to open their eyes to, that new world that they're in, but they're not in, and putting that that, wait a minute, what, how, wait, how, and building that questioning. How did they do that? I don't know. How do you think they did it? And then they go research it and try to figure it out because they really want to know more. So I think that's pretty important, building that how, why, that questioning it. Why is this working? How is this working? Because again, that builds another layer of investigation into it. After they play with it, they then go figure out how they did it because they want to know.
Thank you. Great, fantastic. And I know that I said that was my last question, but looking through all the comments, I see that there's another question that is coming, asking to come, is about the equipment. I know that some of the cages, some of the schools don't have access to the equipment. So maybe you can elaborate about how to overcome this barrier, or maybe what to start with, or maybe if you did have this challenge, how did you manage to go around about it? So I don't know, I'm open to who would like to share the experience. You can raise the hand. Okay, Amanda, go ahead.
Yes, we went through this when we were first starting out because we did not have devices. And so I just went to my director and I said, hey, I'd like to put together a traveling kit. And so she bought me a couple of iPads, and I would go to the teachers, show them, and they could check it out. So that was one way. We love iPads because you can use all the various apps. For our higher level, we would work with the students who could bring their own devices that would work. An older flip phone obviously isn't going to do it, but if they had, the smartphones, either Android or iOS, and so with parent permission, of course, and using the school Wi-Fi, they would download the apps, and we would put them into groups, because we've had to work with not having devices as well. For school districts that might have a very strong community support, we now have what's called a Lufkin Education Foundation. That's just some businesses and parents who fundraise. And then at the end of the year, they let teachers write a grant proposal, and they fund the various teachers from the money they raised fundraising. These are not teachers. These are community members and parents. And so there's a couple of companies that make kits, and they have what look like phones, but they're like a really small tablet, and then they'll do the headsets. And from there, you can do Google Expeditions or Cleverbooks or whichever apps. So we've just relied on community and on principals and directors with their budget money to go, hey, if you can afford it, buy me one this year, buy me one next year, and go from there.
Thank you. Great. Anyone else from the panelists would like to share their opinion as well?
I think it's important to know that you don't have to have one-to-one. Every kid doesn't have to have an iPad or a Merge Cube or whatever. When I first started doing this, I had one, and then I bought 140 Merge Cubes where they were $1 too. So, and then when I was doing robotics, we started with one. And so you don't have to have a whole class set. You can start with one. And then there are lots of agencies that will help with the fundraising. Donors Choose, if you're in the U.S. and you're at a low-income school, they fund a lot of that. And then you can also, if you can tie it into your language arts, Dollar General is a store in the United States that has a literacy grant. You tie it in with literacy, there you go. There's different environmental organizations that will fund you as well. And if you tie it in, so you just find the tie-in, science or reading or math, and there'll be a grant somewhere that will that's looking to give money away. And so that's how I started, was with one, and then finding that tie-in. Mine was with a grant for environmental issues in the state of Florida. There's a group called TERRA, T-E-R-R-A, and they have kind of these same organizations are all around the world. They're not all always called TERRA, but they have environmental organizations who want to give money. People really want to give you money, and you just have to ask for it. So I've become very good at going, hey, you know how, because I find something I want, and then I have to figure out a curricular component. So if you find that curricular component, there's going to be a company somewhere that will fund that money.
Great tip, Nancy. Thank you. Okay, Eugene, go ahead.
Sure. I think like everyone else on the education panel, we all started by ourselves. That's how I got my school going. I brought my own device in and started using it. And the word started to spread. And then talking to your management, your administrators too, to get them on board is the start. Of course, they say, I have no money, I have no money. There's no way we can fund this. But as the success starts going on and kids start learning, and parents start saying, wow, that's cool. Then you get one iPad, like Nancy said, start one, and then another one. Like, hey, wow, you do have money for this. And it does start coming out when parents see a worth, and they start talking to the administrators saying, hey, you know, Mr. O uses iPad, and then the other teachers brought their own iPads in, and then it starts going like a, I don't want to say virus, but it starts spreading. That's a horrible analogy, but that's how I started at my school. And then the money started coming, and there are ways to use it. Bring your own device. We also started shortly after. I brought my device in because kids had it at home. That is pros and cons to that all, but just the start of using these devices, technology in the classroom to start. And from that start, you can start building, and there are ways to find money when things are starting to get successful and attractive. When teachers see it, students see it, and parents see it, administrators start listening and saying, okay, well, we're going to try to make this happen. And reach a community. I think in the US, it's a little easier than some other countries. But if there are companies to talk to and say, hey, listen, we are doing this. We'd like to help the education of our local school and the community. Sometimes companies are open to talking to teachers and finding some sponsorship through that way as well.
Great, thank you. And I really like the idea, yes, Christine, I really like the idea just to starting from something small and building on top of that. And it takes one person to be really enthusiastic to make it happen, I guess. Okay, yes, Christine, please.
I want to second all the things that have been said. I started, of course, we had only a small group of iPads in our district, and we're a rural school district as well. So it was just kind of having those conversations, starting off with groups of teachers that were willing to have you come into the class so they could explore. That turns into the kids going home, telling their parents, you know, and then as you get to all those domino effects, then I could have the conversation with our tech director and say, hey, could we really get a cart of new iPads that are able to support many of the AR features, and we were able to swing it, and it's been such a huge, change for our students. And like Amanda was saying, you don't have to have a whole class set. I mean, we only had like 5, I think, when we started. That's great for a small group. I put in there an article in the chat how you can just have one device. You could use your phone, and there's an awesome app. There's other ones out there, but one of my favorites is Reflector Teacher, and it allows you to mirror your device to your screen, project it in the classroom, or remotely. You can project it right here through Zoom. So there's so many different ways that you can demonstrate augmented reality just with one device using your own phone or whatever it is. So many neat ways to get help and get funding for all these things.
Great, fantastic. Well, that sounds good. I think this topic really wraps up our discussion, and I would like to know, see if there are any questions from our audience. If you do have a question, something that hasn't been covered yet in our discussion, please either unmute yourself and ask this question, or you can also put that in the chat, and we'll give you a couple of minutes to make that happen. But while you're doing that, I would really like to take the opportunity and thank you very much, all our speakers for today's presentation, for all your recommendations, your opinions, and your experience, because I think it's really, really valuable. And hopefully that people who are listening us today and who will be watching this as a recording will be able to take that on board and would be able to actually make it happen in their classroom. So a big, big thank you for being with us today and sharing your experience. Okay. Thank you, experts. Please be kind to us when you evaluate your tasks. Okay. Okay, thank
Ina,
you. Yes.
I just wanted to add real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm loving all the chat. For task 2 and 3, we, the panel, came together and put several resources within the task that you could use. So I just wanted you to know to look forward to that because we've linked it, like especially with the Merge Cube, we've put in there a PDF for something you can print off. So just be looking forward to several resources in task 2 and 3.
Fantastic. That's great. As I said, that from what I've heard, it's going to be absolutely amazing challenges, amazing modules, and I really like the whole concept of, a passive consumption of existing augmented reality, maybe as a start, and then going into creating with augmented reality, and then finally coming to a next step, which will be collaborating on a global scale about together using the augmented reality across different schools in different countries. So how are we doing with questions then? I guess we need to use only Cleverbooks apps for the, not necessary, as Amanda just said, that the task 2 and 3, wasn't it, will be focused on other, quite a few solution providers. Amanda, Christine, maybe you can just give a quick word about the task because I haven't seen them yet.
All right, so we were split off into partners. So Nancy and I came up with task 2, and we were focusing on a teacher-created task that you would use with your students for instructional purposes, whether it be math or English, and something that covered STEM. And then Christine was partnered with Rob, and they came up with a project that a student would do using the resources. And while there are Cleverbook resources linked, we picked a variety, and everything is free. We didn't want you to have to pay for anything. So Nancy or Christine, do you have anything else to add to that? No? All right. So like I said, it's all free. It's not just Cleverbooks, although Cleverbooks has amazing resources. We've used Merge Cube, Google. I mean, if it's free and out there, we linked it on there for you to choose from. But you don't have to use just those resources. If there's something else you're aware of that was not on the task, you're free to use it. So.
Fantastic, thank you very much. And I just want to add also another thing that Yunjin helped to a little bit redo the task number 1, also from his professional experience. So I'm really thankful for all of your inputs, and it looks like a great opportunity, a great learning opportunity for everyone. And I know that unfortunately Rob was not able to join us today due to technical difficulties. So, but he was then he was wishing to give also his expert opinion. So let's see. Okay, great. So it looks like we don't have any more questions. It looks like the participants are looking forward to all the great tasks, and it looks like they are asking also for us to be a little bit not too judgmental while we're evaluating everything that they submit. Tasks. So thank you very much. Bye, bye, bye.